Welcome, authors. Welcome to Chapter 6 of How to Write and Publish Your Novel. This chapter, well, it's Chapter 6A. We cover dialogue. If you would like to see my other videos regarding this series, please check out the playlist. And I am your host, MaryGirl Moody, and I am an author to 3 published novels with a couple on the way, actually. And I want to share my experience and advice with you guys in order to help you create and publish your novels. So let's start with Chapter 6A today, which is dialogue. Now, it is one of the parts of your book that you either love or you hate. Either you can write dialogue or you just can't. At first, I couldn't write an actual speaking scene between even just 2 people. Every single story that I wrote, well, short story that I wrote before my novel, pretty much had no dialogue in it or had very little at all. So once I actually accomplished writing a conversation between 2 people, and hell, even 3, even a big group, I felt very accomplished about it. So aside from editing and creating the basics of your book, dialogue is crucial to the success of your novel. So here are some tips from me that can help you hopefully write a great scene with dialogue. So number 1 is to study. This comes into where I spoke to you guys about character development. You have to make sure that you spend enough time in the heads of your characters, so to speak. That way you know enough about them to be able to speak for them, such as, do they have an accent? Are they quick to anger? What is their education level? And like things such as this will help you be able to write for your character. For example, in my book Resurrection, I had a character named Rick, and he, in order to make him say, if I wanted him to say something like, you know, you're crazy to another character, I wouldn't just simply say you're crazy. In order to be Rick, I would say something like, you're crazier than flies on manure. Something such as that. You know, it just wouldn't be anything simple when it came to him. So each character will have their own personality. So it's imperative that you incorporate that into their dialogue. You don't want your characters to sound like each other. They have to stand out. Mind you, not in every single sentence, but it's the key to making them sound real rather than cheesy or the conversation is forced. Number 2, take it one at a time, guys. When you write a scene with dialogue, start inside the mind of one character. It becomes confusing and too hard when you try to write for 2 people, or heck, even more than that, in one scene. So just start with one person. Now, mind you, start in the mind with that one person. Don't write just one-sided. Start with the dialogue or the scene in the mind of one person, and then, you know, write the entire scene, and then go back and move into the next character. And when you go back to reread it, think, is that what they would have said? It's a great time where you can kind of go back and kind of have fun, kind of picking things around and kind of putting in there what your character would say rather than what you think they would say. So make sure that you take it one at a time on that one. Remember too, I had a conversation between Sarah, Anna, and Resurrection, and it felt so forced at first. So what I did is I just stayed inside Anna's mind. And this is where they met Miss Maxine for the first time at the Williamson Law Academy. And so it was a little conversation between them two, and I just went from the scene of how Anna would feel, and then I went through the scene again of how I wrote the entire thing in Anna's perspective, and then I wrote back and reread it, but in Sarah's mind. So I had to delete some dialogue and obviously rewrite some things because, you know, in Regina's mind, that's not necessarily what Sarah would actually say. So it does take a couple of times of just going back there repeatedly and rereading that scene and being in your character's mind to actually know would they have said this. So again, don't dissect every single line. Just stay in their mind and speak for them, okay? Number 3, you want to reread. When you think you are done, guys, when you believe that you have hit the end of the scene, go back, put it aside, and then read it 24 hours of letting it sit by yourself without working on it. Now, I recommend a full week of letting it, you know, sit by itself before going back to reread that scene, just to make sure that you're going to be looking at it with fresh eyes. You want to make sure that you're reading it 100% with fresh eyes. If not, you know, it's going to be very difficult for you to spot your own mistakes, such as, did reading it exceed your expectations? If it didn't, you have to kind of see what's wrong with it. And the only way to tell is to let some time sit, and then you go back with a fresh mind and reread it and see it for yourself with a better eye. And sometimes, guys, if the scene does not feel right, just let it stir in your own mind for a little bit. The right idea will sometimes hit us, such as when we're in the shower, you know, like stuck in Mopac and very heavy traffic. You know, we're in the middle of school or work or something such as that. So number 4, follow your idols. I love Quentin Tarantino's movies and I love Stephen King's novels. Mostly because Stephen King really explains. I mean, he really puts you in the mind of the character. And Quentin Tarantino has amazing dialogue. The dialogue of Tarantino and getting inside the mind and the realism and the torture of Stephen King's characters, I love to incorporate those elements into my work. Such as with Tarantino, you know that twists can come in the form of dialogue in a story, rather than, you know, music letting you know that something's going to happen. Tarantino is going to put you in some ordinary safe situations, and then one word, one sentence from this character is going to turn the scene completely upside down, taking the viewer with it. So guys, please tell me what you think about everything in the comments, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. In chapter 6b, we're going to cover how to actually write the dialogue, such as when to use she said, he replied, and he said as he inched his head away from death, things like that. So thank you so much for watching the video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe and check out my playlist, How to Write and Publish Your Novel. And that's obviously for more videos. Thank you so much, guys, for your support, and go out there and get to writing. Bye.